Hi, I'm Steve Shelburne, owner and operator of Shelburne RV here in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee. All right, well, today I'm going to do a video on sealant. I had a customer come in last week that had a camper that he'd bought. It's about 5 years old, and he had about $9,000 worth of damage done to the camper because of water intrusion, because he didn't maintain the seals on his camper. And he was told that he didn't have to do anything. Don't get on the roof, don't worry about sealing it, you're good to go. This is absolutely wrong. You need to be looking at your seals on your camper. A lot of the manufacturers recommend every 90 days, and that's fine. The more you look at it, the better it is. But I'd like you to be up there looking at everything at least twice a year. Every 6 months, we need to be looking at the roof seals. We need to be looking at all the different seals around the body. You know, this is all very important that it gets looked at. And so obviously he was very upset with me because the price was going to cost so much to fix his camper, and he didn't understand why the sealant that he had used, which was a regular shower sealant, 100% silicone, how the 100% silicone was failing. And so we're going to do a video today kind of talking about the different problems that we run into on sealants, and I'm going to show you the sealants that we use, and I'm going to show you some of the problems that we see. So we're going to go around and look at those now, and I'll kind of explain to you what we look for and what we see. So the first one we're going to look at is going to be a fifth wheel. We're going to look at this fifth wheel first of all, and so this is very important. We want to look at the seals coming down the side. How's the sealant look? You know, one thing that we want to look at is sealant on the slide out. What does it look like? You know, we want to look at every portion of this to see what this is actually doing, what's it looking like. And so primarily a lot of the problems that we see in the industry on fifth wheels is slide out, start cracking, the weight of the slide out floor starts moving, and then you'll start getting a failure in the sealant right here where the floor sits. And then up here on the fifth wheel portion of this, we see this quite often. A lot of this stuff, you know, when this thing's bouncing down the road, this stuff's all moving. And so we see a lot of sealant failures here, and then you'll notice you'll have a lot of that starts doing that. It starts bouncing and moving around. And so this is a good example of this. See how this sealant has actually failed right here? And so this door has a piece of foam behind it from the factory, but they obviously weren't very confident in that foam, and that's why they sealed that. And so now we've got a sealant failure that's happened right here, and so a lot of times this starts failing. You start seeing that fail. We start seeing sealant that's failing right there. There's a failure. So fifth wheels, you know, we really are looking at the front end of these things, and we're looking at the slides. Slides are always a big problem. Again, we're looking at all that stuff to see where the failures are at. And so over the years, trying to fix these seal problems has always been an issue. And how do you know that you actually have it sealed? So here's a fairly new Cherokee bumper pull camper that James is doing a Seal Tech machine on, and basically the machine is pulling air from the outside to the inside, and it's pressurizing the camper up to about 3 psi of positive pressure. And so wherever it's blowing bubbles out, as you can see right here, we know that it is physically leaking. Now, obviously, metal clad campers like this are very tough to seal up, because you're going to get there's going to be times where it's going to leak right here, and there's going to be issues right there. And so right there, he's got a little leak. You obviously see that we've got bubbles blowing right there. We're looking at the slide out, and slide outs are real bad about leaking. I mean, you can see where they have some sealant right there, but it's not the best in the world. And so what's happening is now, right here in this corner, as the water's running down here, he's got stuff leaking right there that's causing problems. One other issue that we see too, and this is where we see in a lot of campers, is the water running down this seal right here. When it gets down to this portion here, it has a bad habit of working its way back inside there. So sometimes we will cut out these little triangle pieces and glue them in there, so when the water runs down, it runs down the triangle, keeps it from going down in there. So part of the other issue is, and we've showed you in some other the videos, look at this. This is a brand new camper, and this basket weave material is already starting to fail. And so this water's getting down here, and over a period of time, this is going to start causing problems. All right, so we're going to look at a Class A motor coach with sealant stuff going on. And again, this is another situation where, you know, we got to be looking at sealant around slide outs. Obviously it can be a problem. You know, we're looking at sealant across the trims. Any of these that have the fiberglass front ends, you know, we're always looking at the way the fiberglass is moving. You know, we want to make sure that everything is sealed good here. Now, one thing that we always look at on windows is the drains. Are the drains plugged up? You know, if this drain gets plugged up, that water runs through there, it's got to get out of here. Pipe cleaner is a good thing to clean those out with, but we're always looking at that stuff to make sure that there's nothing leaking through the drains. And so this is all stuff that you guys need to be looking at and seeing what's going on. Here's one that's got the slide out. So you can see how they've sealed this. They sealed this coming down through here. And so again, this could be an issue. This is kind of starting to, you can see the cracks. I don't know if you can see it right there or not. You can kind of see the cracks right there starting to crack a little bit. So that's all stuff that needs to be maintained. So we're always looking at this stuff to see it. And this is stuff that you need to be going around your coach at least once, twice a year. See, this could be an issue. Water could be getting in right there. So that's something that would need to be resolved. Here's a body line. This got some issues. Obviously needs to be sealed. This has got some failures, some sealant failure right there. So this could be an issue. Here's another place. Look how this track has started to pull out right here. You can see the gap in there. All that needs to be pulled out and sealed. So those are all places where water is going to get in this coach. And so this is all stuff that you need to be looking at and checking. Here's another place right here on the back where this fiberglass cap's at. You can see right here where it's starting to leak a little bit right there. So obviously stuff that needs to be looked at and taken care of. So this is kind of what we look at on Class A motor coaches. It's fiberglass ends and seeing where the angles are done. So I've got another one we're going to go look at. Let's go over here. So let's talk about Class C motor coaches. Now, you can see the front end of this one is an all fiberglass front end, but the sides are Sealant. The problem we see with Class C motor coaches is they all tend to leak right here. This whole front end's going down the road and moving, and I really like the ones that have the whole from about right there forward is all fiberglass. They do a whole fiberglass front end. Now this one here is a little better just because the front nose portion of it has fiberglass, but it's still moving and that Sealant's moving. And so typically the biggest problems we see is sealant failures. Obviously all the way around here and around this, you'll have sealant failure down along here. This is always a problem with the sealant failing right here. So Class C's are very challenging. Now, this window here, I'm going to show you this. This is one that has the normal drain in it. And so that water runs down, and this is where you're going to take and get that. You want to make sure that those stay clean and the water's going out of them okay. Door seals, obviously. You want to make sure all that's good and sealed. And this coach actually looks really good as far as maintenance goes. But again, this is stuff you guys need to be looking at twice a year. Failures can happen right here. That's always happening. This fiberglass or Sealant rear end, they're real bad about doing the leaking. And so again, we need to be looking at all these places coming down here. How's the lights look? How's the trim look? You know, is the ladder sealed up around here? You know, this is all stuff that has potential of leaking. Again, slide out. See, there's a little issue right here. And I want to make sure water coming in and out, you know, where your waters are at. Make sure all this is sealed up, because even if it's not sealed, water can drip down here and it works its way in there. So this is all stuff that needs to be looked at and taken care of. Now this coach looks pretty dang good, but again, they have the potential. You know, I'm not real happy with this section right here. That could use a little bit of sealant work, but other than that, the coach actually looks pretty dang good. So Class C motor coaches, that's kind of what you got to look at on those. So I've given you some examples of different types of coaches: Sealant sided, campers that have the metal siding, Class C motor coaches, fifth wheels, and you kind of seen what we had going on there. Now I'm going to show you this next one's a fifth wheel that somebody has used a product from television to seal this camper up, and I'm going to show you this because this is not what we need to do. So remember, we talked about on the fifth wheels, this right here. See, this butyl tape is starting to come out of this right here. So all this would need to be pulled out of here and resealed. And I'm not really liking some of these screws because how they're done right there, but this is going to be a problem. It's going to start leaking. The guy's going to have to start having issues with that. But I want to show you this other side because this is where my concern is the most. And you can see right here, this is pulling loose. So this is going to cause issues. But look at this. Look at all this. This is not the way to seal this. This is not the right product for sealing this camper up. And you can see they've gotten a little crazy with the side of this camper. It's all over the side of this camper. And this stuff has actually started failing already. So this is, you can see there, I'm moving that and it ain't working. This stuff is not sealing up. So this is the wrong product for doing this. And this again comes back to 100% silicone is not what you want to use on the outside of this camper. You know, we got some issues right here leaking. You can see the cracks in there. But again, we've used the wrong product to seal this with. And so all this would need to be pulled out of here, removed. And see this is a huge problem. See all that? So now all this water is getting down in here and has caused all this. Got sealant failure right there. So again, it's not, you got to use the right product for sealing this, and they have not done that. So now all this has failed, needs to be taken out and done right. So we'll go in here in a few minutes and I'll show you the right product to use. Of course, Airstream, we hardly ever see any problems with those because everything riveted across there seals up real nice and neat. But there is a special sealant we use for that, but we really don't see a lot of that. So let's go inside and we'll talk about what we use. All right, up on the roof of this bumper pull camper, and I'm going to show you some things I want you to look at. You can see that's a little suspicious. But see how the sealant's starting to crack? Over time, this is going to get worse and worse and worse, obviously sitting in the sun. So we want to look at all our fixtures. We want to look at the back rail. Make sure the sealant hasn't failed on the back rail. We want to be looking at the ladder. And then again, all the way down this rail, we want to be inspecting that. Now this is a little suspicious to me. See how that's kind of doing what it's doing right there? So that was something I would want to look at. But I want to look at the rail all the way down the face of this and all the way down the other side. And then I'm looking at all my vents. What do all my vents look like? You know, this isn't bad, but over time it's going to start looking bad. It may start leaking. Skylights. Want to look at the skylights. Are they cracking? Do they have problems? Now see, there's a little suspicious spot right there. See how the sealant has conformed around the screws. So possibly over time, there's a good example one right there. See how that's possibly a failure. So again, I want to be looking at all my fixtures. Somebody's actually been up here sealing on this one already. Didn't do a very, very good job at it, but it has been sealed on. So I'm looking at all my fixtures to see what this roof looks like. Now the little suspicious spot right there. So then I'm going to look at the front rail. What's the front rail look like? Not particularly happy with that right there. See, that's the water getting in. There's water getting in right there. What does this look like? So this is all stuff that needs to be addressed. What's the front turn bar look like? It doesn't look too bad. But obviously they've been down here sealing something right here. And again, failure right there, but look at that. That looks horrible. there's definitely water getting in right there. So this is a problem. Here's going down the rail. What's that look like? That's obviously a problem. And then we've got a little bit of an issue right there. So yes, this is all stuff that needs to be looked at on these campers to make sure that your seals are good. And again, when they tell you don't get on the roof of these, you know, that's fine. Be safe. You want to do it from the side, get a ladder on the side, do a ladder on the side, look at it from there. If you're not comfortable getting on there, take it to a professional. Get somebody to look at it. But that's kind of the stuff you want to be looking at. Okay, so we're going to talk about different styles of sealant. Obviously, there's different types that I like to use depending on whether it's a roof application or something that's vertical. This right here is obviously the 100% silicone, and this stuff here is really not designed for UV light. We do not want to use that but on anything but the inside of the camper. So I'm going to, you know, I don't want, that stuff will fail. If you're going to use it on the outside, it's going to fail. So we don't want to use that. The sealant that we use on the roofs, anything that's flat roof or anything of that nature, the extreme sealant is what we use. This is a tube of white, self-leveling, works great. It's probably one of the better products that we've used as far as roof sealant. It works with every type of roof sealant and types and all that kind of stuff out there. And you can see there's no guesswork. It works with all the materials out there, and this is the stuff that I've had the most luck with, the stuff that we use all the time. Now, anything that we use vertically, we've talked about vertical and some of the lines across the fifth wheels. This Chemlink is actually the product that we use. They make this in all various types of colors. And so this is a marine grade style sealant that we use. Anything vertically, this is our go-to. And this stuff is the stuff I'm telling you has lasted the longest for us. It works the best. It's a great product. This is really the only thing I want you using on the outside of your camper, whether it's white, clear. They make some tan. They've got all different kinds of colors. But this is primarily anything vertically that we want you to use on that. I know you guys buying these campers are probably being told don't get on the roofs, don't look at this stuff. But I'm telling you, if you want to protect your investment, and I want you to protect your investment, we need to be looking at this stuff. 90 days is good, guys, but if you want to do it, I want to see you do it at least twice a year. You need to be looking at all this stuff. Get up on the roof. Be looking around at this stuff. Now, obviously, follow whatever safety procedures you need to do to get up on the roof. If you need to put a ladder beside it and look at it from the side, that's fine. I'll be more than happy to look at it if you want to bring it to us to do an inspection. And we can look it over with you and show you what we got going on. That's a good way to do that. Obviously, SealTech test is what I recommend, because at least at that point, with you pressurizing the system, you know exactly what you got, you know exactly where the leaks are, and when you leave, not only do I know that you've got the problem fixed, but you know you got the problem fixed. So some good little tips for sealing your camper. Don't be scared to do it. Just make sure you use the right product. And if you got any questions or concerns, please call anytime. I'll be happy to talk to you, or one of my staff will be happy to talk to you. Thanks for watching.